tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers! Happy Tuesday night. We are back. We were gone last week. We'll get into that in just a moment. Before we do, I'm your host, Kellie Knezovich. I'm with my girl, Michelle. What up, what up? Okay, little change of pace going on around here. We did not recap last week's episode of New Girl. Starting tonight, we are recapping 2 episodes every 2 weeks.
Yes.
So tonight we're going to recap last week's episode, Heatwave and Goosebumps Walkaway. Tonight we're going to have a little bit longer after show, but that also gives us some time to tweet with you guys and talk and hear what you guys have to say about the previous week's episode. Speaking of Heatwave, before we jump right into it, Melissa tweeted at me earlier. Did you get that tweet too?
I don't think so.
Okay, she tweeted that she's super glad to see that Jess is coming back tonight, which we saw. We'll get into that later. Yeah. But she is a big shipper of Jess and Nick. So, Melissa, you are my girl. I love you. Also, did you hear that Liz Meriwether said that the end is not over for Jess and Nick yet?
I didn't, but I'm not surprised by that. Like, I'm really not surprised by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we all kind of discussed it and kind of assumed that there would be some connection again.
Right. I feel like they are end goals. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when I think about the show ending, I think about Jess and Nick absolutely getting together this time and not being like, let's kind of think about it. Or, you know what I mean?
I feel like tonight, too, kind of said a lot about how Jess is feeling.
It did.
I'm so excited. Lucinio also said that Megan Fox is doing an amazing job, which is so true. Yeah. I've been so blown away with Megan Fox and her performance in New Girl. I
agree. I think she has done phenomenal on all of the episodes that she's been on. She's a great actress, but it's different to see her in like a more comedy role because she's always playing like the sexy girl.
Right. Well, she does bring sexy in the show for sure.
You're right, definitely. But it's different. It's like from a different perspective now, and like we see that she's actually really talented and not just a pretty face.
I feel like we all were kind of hesitant because it's like she's technically, like, she's the body that is replacing Jess, and Jess, the show is Jess. Like, it revolves all around Jess.
Right.
And so we're kind of like, you have some pretty big shoes to fill, and I think she did.
I think so too.
A great job.
Yeah. I was really sad to see her.
I was gonna say I'm bummed she's gone.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they could kind of do like a coach thing where, you know, she's a new roommate for a little bit or something.
Or like just have her pop in every so often.
I mean, I guess that's not necessarily ruled out.
That's very true.
Could happen. Also, Listinio said that Winston killed it as usual, and I'm just falling in love with Winston. Everything about him. He does at least one thing that's hilarious every single episode. Mm-hmm. I mean, can we talk about Heatwave? Because I feel like Winston I was dying over more than half the things that Winston was doing, saying, acting, all that stuff. So in the beginning of Heatwave, what do you know? It's a heat wave in LA. Shocker.
I feel like those come up every like 2 weeks.
That's like typical.
Right.
We never get out of a heat wave. Watch, now we're in like, it's crazy blistery weather and everything. It's awful.
Well, we do need it.
That's true. We need rain too.
Yeah.
So Nick has created this ranch system where there's all these different types of fans blowing, and he's trying to cool down the apartment.
Right.
And one of the things he says is, I'm so excited for Reagan to see this.
I know, that was so sweet of him.
He's very, I feel like, do you think he did it for Reagan, or do you think he did it to genuinely cool down the apartment?
I think he did it for her. I think even though, remember in the previous episode before Heat Wave, like, I think that was the episode where she had broken up with her girlfriend, right? Or she was breaking up with her girlfriend. I think it was a couple
episodes ago.
Okay.
Where Winston helped.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think in the episode that I'm talking about, like, it seemed like, I think at the end of that episode, it seemed like he and Reagan, like, he was, like, done being her, or having her be his crush. You know what I mean? I think he, like,
was it the one who was making the decision?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. That's what it was. Yeah, I felt like at the end of that episode, he was just like, okay, like, you know what? It just seemed like they were just going to be friends. But then when we came back into this one, he was like, oh, I'm doing this for Reagan. I'm so excited for her to see it. I was like, yes. And not over.
Not over. And Reagan pops in and she goes, all right, guys, we're not going to do this ranch system. Instead, I bought a fancy new AC unit. Right. So you guys are more than welcome to come into my room and enjoy the AC unit in my room.
Which was really sweet of her.
Yeah, it was nice. I was kind of like, girl, you should have left it in the living room. Like the common area, but...
Right.
I mean,
like she wasn't gonna be there any longer.
It didn't really surprise me because I kind of feel like, I mean, Reagan herself has said like she doesn't like to get involved and like be with other people. She really likes her alone time in her own space. So I was kind of shocked that she was like, you guys can come in whenever you want,
right?
Because she's very standoffish. But she is also integrating herself into the lives of the apartment people, or the loft.
The apartment people.
The apartment people, because that is great English. Let's see. So Reagan comes out of the room and says, you know, you don't have to do this anymore. I know the reason you're doing this. And Nick is starting to, my favorite, hatruthinating.
Oh my God.
Where he's going a little crazy.
Yeah. Because it was so hot.
Oh yeah, so hot. He was getting delirious. And as Winston pointed out, I would say 4 people, was it? 3 or 4 different people were collapsing on the side of or outside because it was stupid hot.
Yes. It was 4 people.
I love Winston so much. So anyway, she's like, you know, you could stop doing this. I know why you're doing this. And he's like, what are you talking about? Why do you think I'm doing this? And she's like, I think because you have a crush on me. And of course, Nick is trying to be like, I don't have a crush on you. No, like he's playing it super cool.
Yeah, like he totally turns it around on her.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. He turns it around on her and says, look, I know the reason that you're so caring about me and making sure, you know, you're constantly coming out to check on me and everything is because you have a crush on me.
Right.
And she is like, no, that's stupid. I wouldn't.
Right.
And they both kind of say some mean things to each other, you know. In the beginning, I think she was like, why would I like you? You're so frustrating. You're
right.
A couple other things too. I don't remember. And he said a couple things about her, like, you're so mean, but you're so hot. Which, I mean, we pointed out at the beginning too. He's very drawn to that, like, mean character. He likes that. So, meanwhile, Cece and Schmidt and Winston are kind of like, I feel like every episode with Reagan, it's kind of like there's 2 different groups.
Yeah.
So,
but it's always like Nick, Reagan, and Winston group, and then it's just Cece and Schmidt. And like Winston will like interchange between the groups.
And that being said, Winston interchanged in between the groups, and so he was with Cece and Schmidt this episode. Cece she decided to bail on an audition to be a anchor.
To be a gas station TV
person, which Winston is a major fan of, by the way. He loves the TV gas station.
Those things always freak me out.
Me too.
Like sometimes when they're just like,
what's talking?
Like, hey you, and I'm just like,
no, what? Creepy. So she decides to bail because, quote unquote, it's too hot.
I mean, it was really hot.
But I mean, we could for sure tell that wasn't the real reason, though.
Right.
And I absolutely love Winston. He's been giving great advice this whole season. And his advice to Schmidt was, you know, be strong and be sturdy and, you know, tell her what to do and put on your cop voice. And of course, Schmidt's like, what are you talking about? Was that what you've been practicing?
Right.
And then they cut to one of my new all-time favorite scenes, Winston in the bathroom. He's like in the mirror practicing his different cop voices, which there were plenty. There was like an opera one.
Right.
And what was it? He was doing like handcuffs, 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 and going all the way back down. Handcuffs, handcuffs, handcuffs. And then I think like an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
There were a lot of voices.
He's so good.
All of them.
And he was impressed too with Schmidt later when Schmidt talked in the different voices to Cece, he was like, by the way, you have some great voices.
Some characters.
I know. I loved it. So anyway, he talks to Schmidt about, you know, being strong and sturdy with Cece, telling her that she should go to the audition. Meanwhile, one thing that I thought was super odd, which I didn't really like, Reagan, it got too cold in Reagan's room, which is also Jess's room, and Reagan's like, oh, here's some cold jackets, some weird jackets of Jess's.
Like Jess's old weird ski jackets.
Yeah, and I was like,
that.
I wouldn't go through that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I thought that was like weird too that she would. I mean, she's staying in someone else's room. Like, I feel like it's kind of a thing where you just don't touch other people's stuff.
Yeah.
But it made for a funny bit.
Oh, for sure. And Winston got stuck in the jacket.
Yeah.
Which was great. Him like at the end when
oh my god, he tries to get out of it and he just cuts the sleeves off.
Cuts the sleeves off.
I can't believe he did that.
Yeah.
Why would you not just like cut down?
I know.
Or like cut up?
But see, like anything that they do, does it ever make sense? Especially Nick and Winston. I always feel like they go the opposite weird way to do something, and that's why it's perfect. I also
feel like it's like also in like the heat of the moment. No pun intended. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, oh, I got to do something to just get this off or like to get cooler.
Yeah. But it's always the long way or the hard way. It's never like straight,
the right way,
easy to the point. It's so good. So anyway, Schmidt stands up to Cece, and you know he does his different character voices and his I guess would you call it like his cop voice?
Yeah.
Where he's basically saying you have to go to the audition.
Right.
Cece is pissed at him, and she walks out.
Yeah.
At this point, we don't know where Cece went.
Right.
But we do.
I thought she went to her room for a second.
So did I.
And then they showed the shot on the door, and I was like, so she left?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't. I for sure thought she was going to her room to be like, don't follow me type of thing. So anyway, back to Reagan and Nick. They are kind of like fighting over, I guess she's trying to turn up the heat.
So he would go in her room.
Yeah. Because she's, you know, caring about him and everything. And they end up kind of getting into a bickering argument, and they end up going to what would you call that? Like the electric box?
Yeah.
And just like pressing all the buttons, and they end up causing a blackout.
Yeah. Which I didn't think that's how it was going to go. I just thought because Nick had so many fans running that eventually it would cause a blackout, like naturally. I didn't realize that it would, you know, be the two of them fighting over it.
No, I completely agree. I in one of my old apartments, I used to have an AC unit because it was super hot in the valley, and if I had that running for too long, our apartment would like shut down. Right. And that is just one unit. And Reagan had a unit. There were like 1,700 fans.
Right.
So I'm like, and the gas is running. Like everything is running.
Everything was on.
I think maybe just the TV wasn't running, but besides that, everything was on. So it was bound to go out at some point.
Right.
So anyway, Winston tells Nick and Reagan to go downstairs and fix it in his cop voice.
Because he was so mad.
Because he's so mad. I love that he pushed him in the elevator. He shoved them in the elevator, and he's like, you are going to go downstairs and fix it. You're going to go down to the basement. I have accidentally pressed all of the buttons in the elevator, but you're going to stay on this elevator until you get down to the basement. It was great. So great. So they're down in the basement, and Nick is crazy afraid of rats.
Like, why? I wrote down, I was like, why is he so scared of rats?
Yeah.
Like, I know that it's scary if you're not expecting it, but he knew they were down there.
He knew they were down there, and then when she says, hi, Nick, I'm Jeremiah, he freaked out, and he was just not having it at all.
He was so cute.
I know, yeah. And finally, he and Reagan were getting super close. At this point, what did you think was going to happen?
I knew it was going to happen. I knew they were totally going to kiss, but, like, I thought they were going to kiss in the moment after, like, they had fixed the light outage or whatever it was. Yeah, I thought that was going to happen then, but it didn't.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised that Nick actually admitted, you know, you're right about a lot of things, and she's like, oh, what am I right about? And he's like, we're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah. He's usually really stubborn. So he's growing up.
They're all growing up.
I
know. I love it. So anyway, he ends up fixing the. Gosh, I wish I was like smarter with all these technical house terms.
Box.
Well, anyway, he fixes the
electric.
So whatever. All the lights turn back on. He's good to go. and they hug. And it was such a passionate hug, too. It was very, like, you knew what was going to go down.
It was so cute.
After.
It was like, oh my God, when is this happening?
It wasn't like a friendly, like, yay, great job, buddy, high five.
Right.
Fist bump. Like, no, it was very like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Let's make out.
Totally.
Because that's a super sexy voice. So they hug for a long time, and right as they're about to kiss, Regan sees a rat, and Nick turns around, super scared, screams, and the rat jumps in his mouth. And Nick passes out and ends up shutting down the entire block.
Yeah.
So they're all outside trying to wait to see when all the lights come back on, and that's when Nick and Regan have this conversation about, well, Regan actually asks, hey, can we revisit that moment? And I was like, is she going to revisit that, like, kissing moment?
Yeah.
Like, let's revisit it, continue before, I saw the rat. But no, she says, let's go back to that moment where you said I'm right about a lot of things. What was it that I'm right about? I'm like, girl,
you're like, just do it.
You're so, that was very frustrating for me. I was like, why do you have to be right? Like, she has to be right.
Right. Well,
and just,
yeah.
I don't know. I was like, be kind. Don't need to be right.
I think she just wanted to, like, gloat about it.
It was probably her way, her, like, sexy way of getting back to reliving that moment.
Right, that moment.
So that they can kiss. And I'm like, you should have just gone for it. Just make your move and go for the kiss.
It needs to be the right moment, Kellie.
Oh, yeah. It's all about moments, which we will get into in about 5 moments. So they end up kissing right there on the sidewalk. I was kind of like, that's not where I expected you guys to kiss, but I'm not mad about it.
Right. Me neither.
I like that it happened.
I ship them so hard, but I'm so sad she's gone.
They're, over and done with, I think.
I hope she comes back.
I hope so, too. We'll see. So Cece ends up coming back to Schmidt and says, hey, I bombed the audition. I ended up going, but I didn't bomb it because I'm not talented. I bombed it because I was wasted.
Right.
And then you see Winston going and directing traffic. Yeah. So they all kind of ended up on a positive note. You know, you see Regan and Nick kissing.
Finally.
So they're good to go. Cece and Schmidt, they're like, Cece says, we need to be able to push each other. And I'm glad that you pushed me. I was pissed at you for pushing me, but I'm glad that you did. We need to do that more often. And Winston is in his cop element, and he is directing traffic. They are all good to go.
They are. You're right.
So that's the end of Heatwave. Do you have anything else to add?
No. I don't think so.
All right. Let's get into Goosebumps Walkaway. With this title, I had absolutely no idea what a Goosebumps Walkaway was.
I didn't either. Is
you
that
ever
a
heard
dance move?
No, it's like it's the moment of before, when you say something great and then you walk away. But I've never heard that term before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me neither.
I was
clearly, I didn't even know what it meant.
Confused. And I think they touched upon it. I think Nick and Schmidt were having the conversation because Nick went to Schmidt and said Regan's leaving tomorrow or at some point.
Today, later.
Leaving. And I want to have a Goosebumps Walkaway where I say something great and just end it at that and then walk away and that's it. And I'm like, no, that's not an everlasting impression. I mean, you guys have been hooking up, which, by the way, that's how the episode started.
Yeah.
I think you and I were both like, whoa!
We were, but I was just like, I'm here for it. So here for it.
Yeah. I just didn't expect it. They came out strong.
Yeah.
Because we ended Heatwave with like a passionate kiss on the sidewalk. And then it was like, boom, we are already talking about having sex, which Regan says, meaningless sex. And of course, Nick is like, for sure, meaningless. But deep down, you're like, he's so into it.
Right.
He's so into it. So they go into Regan's room. Regan goes into her room because she's, they're about to get ready to have sex. And boom, Jess is back.
I was not expecting that.
No,
not at all.
I knew she was coming back, but I didn't know it was going to be like that in that awkward situation.
Yeah, like I was assuming that once Regan left, that's when Jess would come back in.
Yeah.
In her like own episode where they like welcome her back. You know what I mean? But like, I mean, I'm not mad about it this way either. It was like a really cute episode with how they all like, like communicated or like hung out with each other, whatever. I can't even think of the word right now.
I honestly felt like it was a very different dynamic. I was really looking forward to seeing how Regan and Jess how their interaction would work with the roommates.
Yeah.
Because we see how Regan is with the roommates. We see how they are.
Right.
That's like one group. And then we obviously know how Jess and the roommates are. But having to combine them, I was kind of interested to see it. And to be honest, I don't think I really liked it.
Yeah.
It just was a little weird for me. It's like the chemistry was a little off.
Yeah. I think with that being said, I felt like Jess was weird in the episode.
That's what I think it is, because I think we're so used to Reagan, like we've come to love her. Yeah. Not that we don't like Jess and we've forgotten about Jess, because we'd absolutely, there's no way we can forget about Jess, but she came back and it was like, guys, I'm in love.
Yeah, and it's like
hey girl.
Right, thanks for the note, like heads up.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know, I just kind of felt like it was I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I feel like she like was acting really weird throughout the entire episode too. Like it wasn't the Jess that we knew before. It was like she came back and nothing's changed. Like that's how I felt like her attitude was. Like when she came back in, like she was like, oh, everything's back to normal for me, and like I'm gonna be my weird crazy self. But I just felt like it wasn't. They did acknowledge, you know, her being away for 6 weeks and like her being on jury duty and stuff like that, but like her whole attitude was just way too over the top for me. Like
I feel like I kind of forgot about how quirky she is.
Yeah.
That song that when she was walking out of her room with Reagan and she was like, Reagan, we're singing a song now. I was like, oh, yeah, like of course they sing.
Yeah.
But I was just like, Reagan is not that kind of girl that will sing with you or be interested in hanging out with you.
Right.
And yet you're like trying, but then you're also so in love with this guy and you're kind of just all about this guy instead of like, Cece Schmidt, how's the wedding planning going?
Right.
Or Winston, what's new with you? You know, it just was all about...
I think that's what was weird for both of us.
Yeah.
Is that she kind of just like came in guns a-blazing and she didn't ask everyone else how they were, you know? Because she's usually a caring person. That's what she would do. Exactly. And you would think she would do that, but they went a different
Her heart is in a different place. And she's obsessed with juror 237B.
A.K.A. Gary Garcia.
Yes, we find out this Gary Garcia. That was actually a really funny scene when they were on TV together. We'll get to that in just a second. But, so when Nick walks into the room, because he's ready to have sex with Reagan, he has his special underwear on.
Oh, God.
Like, and that hug was so awkward.
It was so awkward.
I mean, he's patting both their backs, and he's like...
Because from behind, they both look alike.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Well, and he even made the comment, too. He's like, it's not just because you both have the same room or you both have brown hair.
Right.
Like, no, but that is the case.
Right.
He has been romantic with both of them, and he did point that out. Oh, gosh, it was so awkward.
It was so awkward that he did that.
But, I mean, at least they touched upon it in the episode. Yeah. At least Reagan was like, okay, I need to get out of here. Nick is being so weird.
But also, like, I feel like the other weird thing is that neither of them really reacted weirdly to that. You know what I mean?
Do you think they tried to hold it in?
I don't know.
I feel like Reagan was kind of like, okay, yeah. But she was trying to hold it in because she's like, okay, it's so weird with Nick. But I think Jess is kind of like, hey, Nick, how's it going? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think she really notices how awkward it is because maybe she's used to that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Nick is all, or what? No. Jess is all about this juror 237B. She's found love, and so she needs to, Reagan says, I need to leave for the day. Like, I need to get out of here. Nick is being way too weird. So Jess says, why don't we go find juror 237B? And they're on a mission in all of LA trying to find this one guy. They don't have any information about him. So I'm actually pretty surprised that they were able to get their hands on some, so like they kind of had a trail to lead to said Gary Garcia.
Gary Garcia, yeah.
So anyway, they go find this other guy with the inhaler, who was another juror on the trial, and he sat
next to Gary.
Who sat next to Gary, and what was it, like a country club?
Yeah, it looked like a golf club.
It was like men only.
Or no, wait, not a golf club because they weren't playing golf. They were like playing something else,
like cricket or something. Sports. So
they were playing sports.
They needed to find a guy to go and talk to the asthma dude. What was his name, by the way? Do we know?
I don't think we ever found out his name.
We'll just call him asthma dude. So they end up calling Nick. Nick says he's super busy, but you know he can make time for the girls.
Right.
So he goes to wherever they are, and at that point, Reagan's like, "Wow, I have a crush on Nick. Like, I like him, but I'm leaving tomorrow." Like, she's very she's guarded. She always has been. Mm-hmm. She said she's guarded with people in general, and how we saw with her ex-girlfriend, she's very she doesn't get attached. She tries not to get attached because she's constantly moving. Mm-hmm. But for some reason it was a little different with Nick. I don't know why. I think maybe
he's a charming guy.
I think she's surprised that he.
Yeah.
I think she surprised herself that she's into Nick.
Right.
I think she's like, why would I be into him?
Yeah.
But she is, and she's leaving tomorrow, or relatively soon. So yeah, she says that she's crazy about him. So I don't know. I kind of wish that there was a little bit more interaction on her part, because she's very flirtatious with the Heat Waves episode where she was like, "Oh, let's revisit that conversation that she's very charming in that sense." And this time she was very standoffish and trying to, no romance, no nothing.
Right. I think it was just standoffish because Jess was there.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
See, I saw it as I think she was standoffish because she doesn't want to get attached because she's leaving.
Yeah.
But I didn't really think it was because maybe when Jess was in the car driving, she's like, "Oh, Nick will surprise you. He has some tricks up his sleeve." Maybe she was kind of like, "Oh, does Jess have feelings for him?" Or,
yeah, I mean,
they kind of hooked up too.
It seemed like she had feelings for him.
Yeah. That was an interesting scene.
Super thrilled about.
Oh, well, I'm excited, and I know Melissa's excited too. So anyway, she finds out the name. Jess finds out the name of the juror 237B, Gary Garcia, and they're trying to figure out how to get a hold of him. She goes on the live television to explain the verdict of the trial.
Because what was she, the foreman?
Madam Foreman.
Do you know what that is?
I think it's a person who like kind of speaks on behalf of the jury.
Oh, okay.
So she's the one that says the verdict and the decision they've come to.
Of course, I'm not surprised that she took it upon herself.
Right, and she was really good at it. She's like, of course, who was nominated? Me, unanimously. So anyway, she goes on live television. They do the voice changer thing. They outline her in black. And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, and somebody else here too. Juror 237. Yeah, Juror 237B." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, Gary." That was such a great scene.
It was really cute. It was very well done, and it was just hysterical. Like classic Jess. Like that's the Jess that we've been missing since the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. Because that was a different Jess. That was the regular Jess that we are used to seeing, as opposed to the "I'm in love. Let's go find Juror 237B."
Like the fake Jess.
Like that was just a little off, but now she's like kind of back in her groove of things, and that was totally normal. Super cute how they're exchanging each other's information
on live television.
She's like, "I live at 417 or whatever the address was." Too funny. Meanwhile, like we were talking earlier about how there's different groups. We have Winston, Cece, and Schmidt are kind of their own group this time. And Winston has been going to some dance classes, which have turned into dance gatherings. And Cece's like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe we should go. We should try to figure out how to dance for our first dance at our wedding." So they go, and it is not a dance class by any means.
I mean, he said it was a gathering.
That's true. There's nothing choreographed. It's just a little, it's interpretive dance, I would say.
Or just like have fun dance.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Cece called it too. She's like, "I don't want to do a choreographed wedding dance. I just want to have fun and be loose and be silly."
Yeah.
And that's exactly, I mean, she went out on the dance floor and she was just like throwing out some moves that I've never seen, but I want to emulate. Girl, you are my inspiration. So anyway, of course, Schmidt's like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm not going to dance like that.
Yeah.
But what's funny is, do you remember when he was with Elizabeth?
Which one was Elizabeth?
She was his college girlfriend. I think it was
the
person that he lost his virginity to, I think.
I think so. She was the more dominant one, right?
No, she was blonde. She wore like a cat shirt. Remember he was like trying to choose between Elizabeth and Cece.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was a time where she like did like some funny dance moves, and she kind of called Schmidt out and being like, "Oh, you care too much what people think," and then he joined in.
Yeah.
In the dance moves, and I'm like, you've done this before. Like, you should be able to join in on the dance moves. Why do you care so much what people think? Which, props to Winston. Winston definitely brought up that point of why do you care so much what people think. I loved how Winston said, oh my gosh, he said, "When are you going to stop worrying about what people say? I have, like, the only advice that I take is the one that I read every morning. It's from myself." and it's basically just like you're good at, like, you're great, you're a great person,
right?
And I was like, that is so, I should start doing that every morning, just like
wake up and tell yourself that you're great.
Yeah, look in the mirror,
have a great day.
but not pull a Nick, because Nick was like, nice job, dude.
Right.
He was a little freaked out at the person in the mirror.
The heat wave still got to him.
Yes, the heat wave, the truthinating. It's too much for Nick. So anyway, Schmidt tells a story about being a child in a talent show when he was a child. He had kind of like a bully, like, put him down a lot. Mm-hmm. And Schmidt has gone through hell and back in terms of like being called the fat kid and fatty and all this stuff. So he's really, I mean, I understand why he doesn't. Yeah. You know, it's hard for him to kind of open up to people.
Right, and like how he still has that insecurity of like people judging him. Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to get over.
It is. But luckily we saw at the end of the episode, the very end of the episode, Schmidt was able to show off his dance moves. What do you say? It was like, I'm going to show you our not planned dance moves or something along those lines.
I can't remember, but I just remember like when the music came on, it was like, do the hustle, and he's like, no, I will not do the hustle.
I love it. Yeah, so it was all impromptu, and he was just kind of making it up as he goes, and I think that he kind of needs to let loose. You know, he's been so, like, in terms of wedding planning, it's been like, he's been very stressed out. I mean, do you remember the engagement party when Cece's mom came? Yeah. It was so, like, matter of fact, it had to be perfect. It was just so planned out very well. Yeah. And Cece, I feel like, is kind of more, I mean, remember the wedding dress? Like, yes. No girl I know would ever be so carefree and like, I'm just going to get wasted and buy a dress.
And buy the dress the first time they go. The first time,
but then also keep the dress. Yeah. And that will be my wedding dress. Like, Cece's just so much more relaxed and so carefree. And I love her attitude of, this is our first dance. Like, it's our first song together. Let's just have fun, be silly. Yeah. It's great. So anyway, at the end of the episode, Reagan leaves and Nick uses his line, the Goosebumps Walkaway. And his line is Sayonara Sammy.
Like, is that from a movie? That's what I was wondering.
Ooh, good question. I'm not sure.
Where is it from? If anyone knows, let us know.
Yeah, I don't know. And he even asks too. He's like, "What's Sammy?" or "Who's Sammy?" Because in the end, when she's at the airport, she's about to leave. She witnesses the Jess Gary interaction on TV, and she's like, "Man, I have to make this call. Like, I Jess found her love. Like, I need to tell him how I feel." And I for sure thought she was gonna be like, "Nick, I have to tell you something. I really like you."
I know, I did too. But that's what I was hoping for.
It wasn't that. It was, "I have to tell you something. Sayonara, Sammy." Yeah. I was like, no, you had your chance.
I know.
It was so close.
But I think in the moment, though, it was, like, meaningful it was, like, an inside joke, but also, like, a meaningful thing to them. Like, yeah. Obviously, we would have wanted her to say something else, you know? But, I mean, Nick was just like, oh, my God.
I'm Sammy.
Like, yeah.
And we're like, what?
We're just like, who's Sammy?
Yeah, like, we didn't get it. No. So Reagan is gone. He goes, Jess comes back into the room, right? And Nick is on her bed. Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, what's going on over here?" And then somehow they get into the conversation of masturbating, and I was like, where did that come from?
Oh, it was, he was like, because he was like, "Oh, you've been gone for 6 weeks. It's been so long since we've seen each other. Like, let's talk." And then they talked about Reagan, and he was like, she was like, "So did you tell her? Like, did she call you?" And he was just like, "Yeah, she called me, but all she said was Sayonara Sammy."
Of course, Jess is like, "What does that mean?"
And then he was like, "I'll be taking that with me to Nick on Nick time."
Oh, that's like, right, that's right.
Oh, Nick on Nick time. Like, I know what that means. And she was like, "I don't know if I want to know what that means."
Just stop.
You know what it means.
So that happens.
Yeah, it does.
And
which is a little awkward.
But then at the end of the episode, Nick said, "I missed you, kid." And Jess is like, "Missed you too."
But see, when he called her kid, though, I feel like that was very, like, platonic, like, very friendly. Yeah. Had he just said, "I miss you," it would have, like, gave it a different feeling.
He was very, like, it was brother sisterly, I felt. Yeah. Coming from him, but I did, maybe I'm just super reading into it and I'm hoping, but I feel like the fact that she was like, "Missed you too," like a little bit quieter, and it wasn't like, Nick, I missed you.
Yeah, which is what she would usually do.
Right.
You
And
do
this
a great
time she
Jess
was.
impression, by the way.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
This time she was just like, missed you too.
Yeah.
Like a little bit shy.
Yeah.
And I think maybe having that discussion with Reagan about, oh, Nick might creep up on you. You never know. I think maybe that was kind of like, wow, like that. I forgot about Nick. You know, I've been so attached to juror 237B.
Right.
But
it didn't work out.
Yeah, no. No. That was just awkward. There was literally no communication there.
No.
So I think Jess might be like, wow, maybe I do miss Nick. Like I miss his, obviously, friendship, but like I miss his quirky side and the things that'll sneak up on you.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic, to say the least. Michelle's like, God, Kelly, I'm so over you. Oh,
so
gosh.
over it, Kelly.
I know. Well, we have, like 200 more episodes to go? And by 200, I mean maybe like,
maybe like
10 or 15.
Yeah.
So a lot can happen. We can see
lot can
Reagan.
happen.
We can see Coach. We can see Nick and Jess together.
How about you take that hope and just put it on the top shelf?
Get out of here. You can't come back.
We'll revisit it later.
We'll revisit it next week. And by next week, I mean 2 weeks from now. Again, we're going to start recapping the New Girl After show every 2 weeks. So we will not be back next week, the 15th, but we will be back the following week.
Yeah.
Recapping both episodes.
Yes.
So we have lots more to talk about. And let's see. Do you want to get into predictions?
Of course.
Okay.
Always.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
I know you're not going to say anything about Jess and Nick,
I'm not.
Carry on.
I'm also like, oh my God, the lights are going on like really for a really long time right now.
It's kind of creeping me out. Jinx.
So I predict that Jess starting, I don't want to say like starting the next episode because then that won't like help me for like future episodes. But like I think now that Jess is back, they're definitely gonna go straight into wedding planning.
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna bring the dress back, the light up dress. They're gonna bring it back, and then Jess is gonna be like, I have to do something about this.
I can fix it.
So I think she'll fix it, but I also think that we won't see the end result until the wedding is like happening.
I think so. I think you're right on that one.
Yeah, because they always do those things.
I know, but then again, we kind of expected, to not be shown what dress she chose, and then, but it was for the episode because the episode was that she chose a terrible dress.
Right. Yeah, and then I really think Reagan is gonna come back for at least one more episode, just because I feel like them saying goodbye now like didn't really like end things, even though it was a sayonara or like a goodbye. It wasn't really a goodbye. So she's gonna come back. I'm predicting she's gonna be Nick's +1 to Schmidt and Cece's wedding.
Oh God,
it's gonna be so cute.
No.
Yes.
No.
Jess and Nick can wait. They can wait.
I don't think so. I'm actually super ready for Winston to be like the center of the episode.
Yeah.
I feel like he's always helping out someone. You know, he helped out Cece with the wedding dress. He helped out Reagan breaking up with her girlfriend or ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
He helped Schmidt by giving him the confidence to stand up to Cece. Like, he's just been helping everyone. He's hilarious. His one-liners are so good. But I'm ready for him to, you know, kind of have the spotlight for a little bit. We kind of saw that in the Decision episode where he, you know, talked to Allie, his partner.
His partner.
Where he talked to her and was like, oh, what are my good qualities? Like, you know, we saw a little bit of that, but then at the end of the day, it was more focused on Nick and Reagan.
Right. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. So something should happen there.
Yeah.
With Allie and Winston, maybe relatively soon.
Maybe the next episode.
I feel like the next episode's going to be pretty focused heavily on Jess. Just kind of coming back.
That's true, because she just came back. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know how, though. I don't know if it's going to be like Jess and Cece or...
Maybe it'll just be her, like, trying to get back into the groove of things.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Maybe it'll be more like the spotlight will be shared equally amongst all the roommates next episode. But yeah, I would like to see Reagan come back just a little bit here and there. Also, just because I love Coach, I want him to come back.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, I think maybe Reagan might be Nick's +1, I was like, what about Coach? Like, Coach should be Nick's
Right,
plus one, or
yeah.
Jess's or Winston's. Nick
Right.
Coach should be there.
He should be there.
I hope so. We'll see. I don't know. Also, tonight, did you know tonight is New Girls' 100th
their 100th
episode?
episode. I saw the hashtag on the screen.
Yeah, I loved
It
it.
was great. It was a great 100th episode, actually.
It was really good because it kind of tied everything together.
Yeah.
It was huge for Jess to leave the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge for her to be gone for 6 weeks or 5 weeks. And the fact that she came back on the 100th episode tied everything all together.
I think they planned it that way.
I think they did too.
Yeah.
That was good job. Good timing on having the baby.
I know, right?
That was really well written. It was a great 100th episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of shocked that it's already been
I know.
100.
Me too.
I was like, whoa, that's a lot of episodes.
I feel like it goes by really quickly.
It
Like you
does.
don't think about it, but it does.
It's just there's so much fit in, so many things that are fit into these episodes.
You're right.
Kind of just goes over your head.
Yeah. Not every show makes it to 100, so.
No. Props to New Girl.
Yeah.
I love it. So, again, next week we will not be here, but we will be here in 2 weeks recapping the next 2 episodes. Where can everyone find you on social media, Michelle?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at _Michelle Phi.
And y'all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Kellie Knez. You can use the hashtag ABTVNewGirl to continue chatting. You can tweet at us. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments on tonight's episode. Let's learn to talk, Kel. And any future predictions you may have. Tell us how you feel about tonight with Jess coming back. Again, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.